Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got episode 97 of Marvel YAP for you guys today. Today we have a very special guest as well. We're going to be going over the Grand Arena decks, talking about Namorita and Triton, probably just a little bit, talking about the new player experience, as our special guest is a newer player to the game. Not to note, also a top infinite player in the game. And then we're also going to be checking out the brand new season. It's going to be our new season preview, part 1. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we are joined by the hostess with the mostest. Dance and I are actually recording for the first time in like 2 or 3 weeks, actually right before we actually do our normal scheduled yap. So like this actually is kind of surreal now. It's been like half a month. But we have a very special yap today, Dance.
Yeah, no, I'm very stoked for it. I will say I missed yapping with you. We were both out of town for a bit, and for varying reasons. We had 2 weeks in a row. We basically had to pre-record a little bit, and missed doing this, missed yapping. I'll also say, I haven't missed the new player experience. I remember we did this a while ago where I did log into my old account, my free to play account, just to re-see that experience. I think it's been going better so far, but I do think we could probably find someone who's a little bit more experienced. Now, I have someone in mind, and they have told me, and I quote, a digital footprint of a mouse. But do you think we could get Mase on today in order to help us out? Oh, we can.
Yo, what's up? It's Mase. Dance wanted me to do my, I was gonna say, yippee, it's Mase, but,
You still said it. Therefore, I feel happy about it.
Okay, that's good enough.
Yeah. But welcome, Mase, to the Marvel YAP episode. Bro, we're at 97. We're about to hit 100. This is insane. I didn't realize we'd be doing this for 100. It's almost 2 years.
Yeah, we got 2 years coming up. I think more so in August, but episode number 100 should be in July, which we forgot to say this at the beginning of most of our yaps. I say the past couple times, but make sure you guys leave a comment on today's video with the word of the day, and your comment could be featured in the mailbag section of episode number 100, where we look at previous comments and yaps and we talk about them. So yours might be featured as well, as we do, like I said, with the beautiful Mase here, who is newer to the game, not like brand spanking new, because Mase has been playing for a good, I'd say, couple months now, right, Mase? Or when did you start?
It's been since November of last year, so okay. I'm pretty new, but not the newest.
What was when you joined the game? Because I don't know if everyone else knows you, which if y'all don't know Mase, you should be following and subbed over to his Twitch, twitch.tv/Mase SW. Mase
yep,
SW, Mase MASESW. But so when you joined Marvel Snap, when you started playing the game, right? Because again, you are a relatively newer player, especially considering like Tucker and I. When did you what was happening in the game for you? What was your first experience with the game?
So it was zombie season, which is the only infinite card back I haven't gotten since I started, but I think it was Move was super popular at the time. But I didn't get to experience much of the top of the meta because I wasn't super good at the game yet.
Yeah. We'll talk about that more probably in the middle section here, but it's just interesting to give people just in that perspective of where you are. What do you know what your rank currently is in game, as you've very quickly, as Tucker's mentioned, gone to top of Infinite. You've been playing a lot. You're good at the game.
Yeah, so I currently this month haven't even hit Infinite because it's been such a busy month for me.
Honestly, fair.
Yeah, last season I think I ended at 167th in top Infinite. And then I think I've been top 100 for the past 4 months or so.
Well, that's a good range, at least understanding of what's going on. Because Tucker and I can attest, we've been busy this month as well, so we can get it. But have y'all messed with Grand Arena yet? Because that is one of our topics for today, as Tucker already did in the intro.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tucker.
No, Mase, it is all you. I just had an epiphany, but I'll get into that in a second.
I've played I don't know. I watched Pixie Chef play 2 games with his deck before we came on, but that's about it so far. I've gandered a little bit, but not much.
Sure. What was your epiphany?
So what's really great is I was playing the Jeff Oh, thank you. I was playing the Jeff Ghost Spider deck, and the Jeff Ghost Spider deck does feature Jeff the Baby Dolphin. So if you guys do not own Jeff the Baby Dolphin and do complete games with that deck, you should be able to get progress for your weekend missions today and potentially also going through the week.
I was gonna say, I think it's happening for like 2 technically like weekend mission sections.
Yep.
So that's an extra free 300 gold if y'all don't have the season pass. That just like play those. But you're talking about the decks. Can we talk about all those decks and just our initial thoughts or just processes about them? Because it's interesting. We mentioned this a couple episodes ago, Tuck, but every single Grand Arena deck is actually created by a different creator, and they're all credited there, and just like we'll go through them one by one and just like look at it as well. Untapped, by the way, being a creator that was tapped for this, thought that was cool. I didn't know that they would do that.
Yeah, since Rain is also in the content creator program, they have it linked as Untapped, which is really great. I will say some of these decks I think are very interesting. Is what I'll say. I do want to go ahead and just get out of the way that I do wish I had been able to do the Ghost Rider deck, because that is a Black Knight deck, and Black Knight's kind of my thing. But I totally understand, and I'll be probably playing it maybe a little bit to kind of just see the vibes for sure, because I haven't tested with it just yet. But is there any decks that you guys wish you guys had the access to make before we go ahead and jump into it?
Ooh.
I'm not sure.
Goodness.
I think to quote Pixie Chef, I think he said Doc Guapo was crying on this one, on the Rocket Raccoon deck. I think he said Doc Guapo would have loved that one. I don't know. I would have wanted something to synergize with Phantom X, but I don't think there's much. I think it would have been something more destroy-centric. Like,
you know what? I was gonna say
something with Carnage and Phantom X. Yeah, I tried the Phantom Ace with Carnage, but it didn't work out so well. But I think I could have cooked something.
Herbie, I think you could have done something with Herbie Herbie Jocasta things. Also, could have been really interesting.
Yeah,
I also think. Cool. Because, what is it? I think you could have done either Weapon X or Carnage, because the fact that both of them start in your hand and their skills means you have a guaranteed destroy. So you don't even have to put any other destroy synergy real cards in there. Everything else could be discard. But those are both interesting ones. Also, you have Thing First Steps if you really wanted to do that, but it's not quite the same, obviously. I think if there was one I had the ability to do, I feel, and I actually like what they have. I'm interested in the Invisible Woman one. I haven't played all of them yet, but the Invisible Woman deck in particular, I think it's very interesting to try to talk about and mess with. The fact there's no Super Giant in that deck is really shocking to me, because I feel like that's an easy card to throw in there. But I don't know. We'll see actually how it goes. But Tug, Mason, if this is chill with y'all, I know we haven't really discussed this bit. What if we just go left to right? Give and we rank each deck 1 to 5, like on a 5-star scale, and give a sentence of what we think about it, because we have 21 different decks that we have to go through here.
I'm down to the slider. I really like with this, and I want to note about this is like this is actually one of the dragon decks. He actually used something very similar to this in the Golden Gauntlet a couple seasons ago, or it was a Snap Judgments tournament. And he actually performed really well with it. So we got to revamp it for Grand Arena, which is really cool. But from left to right here, we have Reigns, of course, Untapped Hulk deck with your boy Monstro in it.
I do like that.
Overall, I mean, this is just big cards. Like you're literally playing just big power things. I probably give this like a 3.5 star, just because like power scaling wise, opposed to some of these other decks. Like there's ones that definitely can scale with it, but I think the Rogue and the Shadow King can be kind of crazy, and also Lady Deathstrike.
Yeah,
honestly, fair.
I think I'm definitely pretty close to you on that. I think I'm a little bit closer to 3. I don't think the Rogue's going to end up doing a whole lot for you in games, especially in games where she would be useful. I think they're just going to go taller than you in the lanes where you're roguing. But I like the Monstros, and I think that's really cool. I haven't seen a whole lot of that card because I haven't played that much this month.
So I've played a little bit so far, and the deck I was playing the most of initially was the Iron Man one, which has enough of an ongoing package. I will say the Rogue felt really rough against me, but because the fact that you have Rogue, Shadow King, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Lady Deathstrike all as tech in that deck, it does feel really good. It feels like there's a lot of good choices there and a lot of power potentially. I think this one's probably going to be actually one of the higher ones. I'm going to go bet against y'all. I'm going to say this is like a 4. I think just go up a little bit more. I think this is early opinions. Literally, the game mode's been out as we're recording this for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And one other thing is we've now zoomed in a little bit more. Every single creator, apparently, I think that they were allowed to like choose their own custom, like what type of effects they liked the most. That's what I had heard when I was listening to a coach's stream earlier. So like all the effects on these cards, can't really see when you click that, but the effects on the cards here, they chose this green prism for this. And I thought that's just a really cool little like nod that I wanted to shout to the creators as well. So Untapped has a cool deck at least.
Yeah,
Right.
Another thing to add to that, they were allowed to use things that are like not released in Snap fully yet. So I know Pixie's deck has like a it's Pink Fire and Pink Crackle, and they got to use
Pink Fire.
that as well. Yeah.
Pink Fire. There's definitely no like background thing about that Pixie got upset. Anyway, if you know about if you know what I'm referencing.
Yes, you know. What about Canadian Alfredo's Rocket Raccoon deck, which is pretty much just a move Rocket around the board as many times as possible for your Hydra Stomper kind of deck, which I think is an interesting take on it. I do also wish that this was a bounce deck. Like, I truly do wish that this was a bounce deck. But this is a fresher take. I would say with Super Scroll for some of these ongoing decks, which I feel like is interesting.
I don't love a couple of the choices, the more move-centric choices here, but I do love the fact that, when I first saw this deck, I was confused, like, why is this the deck? And Rocket's skill, I'll just tell you also, so it doesn't have to try to zoom in on it. It's a 2-cost. It says on reveal, banish this to move your champion here. Repeat its on reveal and banish a copy of, and add a copy of this to your hand. So leaning to the move side of that skill is a really cool angle. I like that. I don't know if I like this deck personally, because I feel like the move side of it as a whole, like focusing super hard on that doesn't feel great. I wish there was a move bounce angle, and the Super Scroll I don't know if I love, but it's I don't know if it's bad. It's like 2.5 stars probably if I had to rate this.
Sorry, I got a little distracted. My girlfriend just got home from her classes. I'd say, I don't know. I also really wanted more of a bounce package out of it, just because we're especially not seeing much bounce anymore with the nerf of show. I don't see myself playing this one too much. I'll definitely give every one of them a shot, but I'm at like 2 stars. I just think it's gonna be hard to get as many points as you want out of the move package. And I think it's not a great champion skill for the move package, but we'll see how it does.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-star for me too. I think like with bounce, even if it wasn't just bounce, like something with having a Joaquin or something style deck, I think just definitely would have been better kind of thing. So I feel like there's just a better move deck to be playing than this move deck, if we're being honest here, if you're wanting to play move, and it also gives you weekend mission value. So you have that, and then the next deck we have is Santi's or Sank's. I see Santi every time, but it's Sank's Weapon X deck, which does have Animantium Infusion, which something interesting about this is you do start off with extra energy in Grand Arena, which is something that allows you to be able to do some more greedy kind of things like this, like a null kind of Zola situation. Having that, and then also having X23. So interesting.
You can play Weapon X on turn 1.
That is, yeah, exactly. Which is what in a regular game you'd be like, yo, if I could actually play Weapon X turn 1, maybe this card would be good. Plus, I know this is not like really leading to like the decks, as well, but like this Weapon X variant is incredible.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these that were like, they were only the pixel version. And now we've got this one. And I also say the one I'm in love with is Thanos's.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll show today. And you can't even currently get it in game, but I've seen, oh God, I just love the way it looks. Sorry, but aside. Playing Weapon X on turn 1 is fantastic. I don't know if I'm crazy for this take, but I wish there were more things to destroy.
Yes.
I don't know if I think the Adamantium Infusion. Yeah. The Adamantium Infusion is the card I think I like the least, honestly, in this deck.
Yes, I agree. Where's
I
Mora?
agree with that, yeah.
I feel like I wanted like a Wolverine here.
Yep.
I don't know.
Wolverine over Bucky, and then Mora instead of Adamantium Infusion.
And also there's Headpool. And I feel like if you don't have... Yeah, I feel like if you put Moira and you have Headpool in here, and then then I could see the list working. But as is, it feels so close. I think it's probably still gonna be okay, but it's not what I feel like it could have been better. And maybe there's even a chance where there's like Sank's gonna be like, okay, maybe it's too good, and I'm gonna try to like pull it down a little bit and use some weirder cards. Maybe I'm gonna throw that as a potential bone. Who knows if the bone's gonna actually land? But anyway, I'm gonna say it's like 3. I'm gonna say it's like it's better than I like this one more than the Rocket deck though. So I'll give it like a 3. I think is where I'm at.
I think I'm gonna be a little bit closer to, again, a little lower here than you. I think I'm at like a 2.5. I really wanted to see a Deadpool one with the Kid Omega because there's a really cool interaction where Kid Omega gets the doubled power of Deadpool, and I think that's really exciting in Destroy decks. I don't really see a whole lot of amazing things to do with Adamantium Infusion other than like doubling a Venom or something of that nature, but I think you're pretty sad if you're just bringing back like a Bucky Barnes or something like that, but I think that's where I'm at on this one.
And you can already do that with Weapon X's skill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tuck, what did you rank this one?
This is gonna be a 2-star for me. I think I am very low, like very, very low on this. What I do like is the gold chains and the red pixel flare. I think that's cool.
True.
And I think maybe just
I want that pixel flare.
Infusion. Yes. Maybe just Adamantium Infusion is in here because the border looks really good on skills. So that's maybe why it's some like just flavor in this. But no, I am very low on this. Whereas when we look at Jeff's Ghost Spider deck, I am much higher on it. I'm not giving this a 5 out of 5 star. That's not what I'm saying here. I think this is probably like a 3.5 to a 4 star. Just because some of the cards in here are a little interesting, such as like Prowler in 2099 kind of lower it for me. But
I stand by Prowler. It's 2099 actually here.
But it's just the sense of since we're not playing, just a normal ladder game. In a normal ladder game, you would have something like a Juggernaut and a Hellion in here instead of like a 2099 and a Prowler. But since we're not in that way, I understand the reasoning and the choices there. And the Black Cosmic looks incredible with the Frost as well here.
Yeah, that's fair. Mase, what about you? How do you feel about this one? What's your ranking on here?
So I wasn't around a lot whenever Move was super popular, so I'm not like super in tune with the Move stuff. I like it a lot. I'm really excited to play it because I haven't played a whole lot of Move, but 2099, I'm a big fan of Gambit. I like the gamble of the Destroy, and 2099 seems to fit that a lot for me. So I'm pretty excited.
It's fair. Yeah.
I think... Sorry, go ahead.
No, finish your point. Sorry.
I was going to say, rating-wise, I think I'm sitting at around... See, are you saying rating for, like, me personally, or where I think the deck's going to sit power level-wise?
I don't know. I think it's always yes is the best way, because like however you think it deserves to be ranked based off of whatever metrics you personally have, I think is the best way to let people like express their feelings on it.
Yeah, that's fair. So with me,
Tuck, you're muted.
Move, I think it's going to be closer to like a 3, but I think with really good Move players, it could skyrocket closer to like a 4 or a 4.5.
I think it's, and like I was saying while I was muted, is like at the end of the day, either take is an opinion regardless. So,
yeah, true.
Yeah, that's fair. There's also
giving the most
Cosmo
freedom. Yeah, true. Cosmo's in a lot of these decks, which is fun. I do think that in the end, I'm also like, I'm at 4.5. I do agree with that personally. I think the decks, I've done versions of this deck in the past with previous Ghost Spider champions. Didn't have Jeff in here. I don't remember who it was instead, but New Jeff as well, and that I don't think New Jeff is the correct card for this deck. But the fact that it lets players, and so this event is going on for 7 days. So from Monday to Sunday, like Monday to Monday reset, basically. Which means if people are playing this for the first day, they can get 300 gold by playing this deck and winning 4 times. Mm-hmm. That brought me to the 4.5. That's why I'm at here. It probably is actually lower in terms of strength, but the fact that this is a sneaky way to kind of trick Second Dinner into letting players get more gold for free, put it up for me.
Huge for the new player experience.
Yeah.
And then the next deck we have here is Dexter's Captain America deck,
again choosing the flares, by the way.
Yeah, the gold diamonds with gold card back
on the gold pack.
Yeah.
Gold border.
And this deck is actually very interesting. Because the King Eitri is in here for when you play Captain America's skill to be able to resummon that skill. So that's why you have that, which is very interesting, and a bunch of different ongoing cards, long spectrum things. Nice
Flag.
Flavors. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Huh. I actually hadn't seen. I haven't seen all of them yet because there's 21. I hadn't thought, this is a fun pile. I don't know if this is good, but this seems I like it. It seems really cool. Spectrum stuff in 2026. I'm here for it. This might be another 4.5 for me. I don't know if it's good, but I really like this deck.
It looks like a lot of fun. I just don't know about the Wong. The Wong seems awkward.
The fact that we've only seen 4 decks so far, and 3 of them had Cosmo, I think, or maybe 2 of them only. But yeah, 2 of them had Cosmo. And I think we're about to see another deck with Cosmo following up. There's a lot of Cosmo.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cosmo, and we kind of do need to speed this up. So I'm going to give this
I did realize
a 3-star for myself. What about the rest of you guys?
I already said 4.5.
Yeah, I'm going 3.5. Purely for fun factor.
Okay. Next we have
the name of this deck is funny.
Safety Blades Thing, which is the Thing for Steps deck, which is pretty much the Aurora deck that you're seeing around already, which is also really good. You just don't have Awesome Andy in here. You have Mother Ascani instead, and you have some Safety Blade tech with, of course, the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably just going to be a good deck, I think, is my personal guess. I'm going to bet this is probably just a 4-star. 4-star, I like the other one more because it's more fun. 4-star. I'm trying to keep it quick, sorry.
100% agree, 4-star.
4.5 star for me.
Fair. I've played a lot of the Browday Iron Man one so far. The next one, just going to lead us into it. Again, love the choices here in terms of the effects. This has been a lot of fun. The Majestic Wingbeat, Prodigy, Mother, I am easily getting 4 Iron Men. Actually, 3 Iron Men, 4 if I'm being cheekier. It's a really fun deck. This is interesting. I like it. I'd say this is probably I'm going to give it another 4.5 star. This is really cool.
Yeah, I'm at 4.5. This deck seems really good. I've always loved ongoing decks in these events.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well. Now we got the Magento. We got Binks's Magento build with no Scream in this.
Not surprised. Scream's not really a great card. It only forces you to do once per turn. Also, I think it's a Silver Crackle, by the way, just notably. And I don't know if this is going to be I'm lower on this because I just don't think the moving your opponent's cards are really that great. Maybe the chance is actually okay here. I'm personally probably going to be closer to a 2-star here just because I don't think it's good.
I think I'm closer to a 3-star. I think it depends on the rest of the decks that we can see, but moving your opponent's cards can be good in some situations.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, setting up like the Iron Man kind of things could be interesting as long as it's one Iron Man. Now, if there's like 2 or 3 Iron Men, then you're like, well, I moved one of them and here's 2 more. So I'm probably closer to a 2.5 for this. As now we get Thanos, which is Dance's favorite deck.
I mean, I just love the variant here. I think it's sick, and I want that as a variant. I want the actual variant for that so badly. It's so cool. It's very similar to the other Aurora deck, but you do have more pieces. You have Thanos in here. The worst part about the Thanos deck in Grand Arena is the fact that the Space Stone does nothing. and also it's a really bad skill. But you also have a lot of tech in this deck. I don't like the Silver First Steps. It's probably going to be okay. It's not my favorite, though. I'd probably rank this closer to I'm going to say 2.5, 3. It's in that.
I think I'm going to be at, like, probably a 2. I just never liked Thanos. I don't like the way it gunks up my deck with the stones. It just feels hard to play around. I think it'll be better for newer players, though.
Yeah, for newer players, like being able to like learn Thanos potentially, and I say learn that with an asterisk because this is different type of Thanos. This is interesting, but like the Thanos decks always have felt on the worser side in these Grand Arena kind of game modes. So I'm probably lower on it as well, probably a 2-star for me. But next we get the Human Torch First Steps from Lauren.
5-star. It has Toxie. It's not good.
Is this the first like 1.5 star just because Human Torch First Steps is like just feels bad and
it's
no Venus?
Yeah, it's
I'll
not
put
good.
it at a 1. I'll be the one to do it.
It is a 1-star deck. I have it at 5-star. It is a 1-star deck.
Yeah, it's rough out here for this style of deck in this game mode. It just is so difficult to proc, and then like the way Human Torch First Steps is anyways, it's a bit unfortunate there. But the next deck we have is from Guest. We have the Dr. Doom deck from Guest. What are your guys' thoughts on this deck?
Can I get a quick refresh on Dr. Doom ability?
His skill says on reveal, your 6-cost cards cost 3 next turn.
Okay.
The Shadowlands Daredevil is interesting.
Yeah.
What is your thought?
I was just gonna say I think I'm at like, I don't know. I'd say 2.5 for me, but I'm also like, I don't like Malekith very much as a card. I think Malekith can be good in a lot of situations, but I find it hard to play around. I tend to play decks that are a lot less skill centric. I think it'd just be too hard for me to play around.
I think Malekith should be Invisible Woman because if you have Doom stuff in here, then once per turn doesn't count stuff that's hidden. Is my personal take, and that's the only thing I'll say about this one. Honestly, I feel like that, and it's technically, you would argue it's a guaranteed at least 4/9, 4/12. Yeah, it's not. I don't like this one. Is my answer, especially considering it doesn't really work with the skill. This is probably going to be a 2.5, 2-star.
I think this is another 1.5 star for me. I feel like you could have actually taken this a bunch of different ways with the way Doom's skill is to be able to get that extra ramp and value down early on. So I'm interested to kind of see how this scales to some of these other decks. Of course, you have a bunch of ways to disrupt things and you have tech, but I feel like this is going to probably fall a little bit flat, and the Malekith pretty much just for Shadowlands, Daredevils, Demons. Just is kind of just a weird kind of situation for me. I know it's cards that have over 6 power to proc Shadowlands, Daredevil, but I'm definitely lower on this, whereas Dance is going to be super high on Cougar's.
I really like this deck, bro. I shouldn't. It's not a good deck, but I love this deck. It's a lot of fun. I love the Mole Man stuff here. There's no shot this deck's good. I love it. This is, again, I'm going to say, because I know you both are probably going to be more realistic, I'll give it a 5-star again. I'll keep coping for these decks.
I love that. Honestly, this deck looks like a blast to me. I love the Patriot with the Ancient one. I'm at a 4 here, purely for fun factor. I don't think it's going to put out a lot of points in comparison to the ongoing decks and stuff like that, but I think it'll be a blast to play.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3 because, you know, the biggest thing this deck has going for it, Killmonger does not exist in this game mode. So your 1-cost cards cannot be exploded. So I think that boosts the value of this a lot more. And yeah, on the fun scale, being able to use Valkyrie to surprise cards is actually pretty good. Of course, this is, rough into ongoing, but ongoing is always just super good in Grand Arena. So I'll give it, a 3 to 3.5 star. And now we have Aui's Carnage deck, which does use Deadpool, and it uses Mora, and it uses Wolverine.
This is one that we'll get to at the end of this episode. We're talking about the brand new day. again, I respect every single Destroy player choosing to and leaving alone the one cost like Killmonger. Love that. This deck really wants what?
Killmonger's banned in Grand Arena, so like even when decks are like.
I thought Cosmo was as well in the past.
I think Cosmo might have been, but they probably kept Killmonger banned opposed to Cosmo.
Potentially, yeah. I don't know what the restrictions and what the rules were. But this is a deck that says I would love to be able to put a Tombstone in here.
Instead of Deathlock.
Yeah, 100%. But anyway, sorry. So this is probably going to be closer to. It's also, I think it's just gonna be fine. It's not super crazy. You get the extra destroys with Carnage and stuff. I think you and you have Wolverine. You've got consistent destroying here. Honestly, it's probably okay. I'm gonna give it a. Is it wild to say just to give it a 3.5 star? Like it's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the upper end of that. I'm gonna say 3.5 stars because I think this deck is gonna be fantastic for earlier game players. They've got cards they're used to. It's a pretty straightforward deck to play. It's not going to be anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah, this is a very card dependent, like draw dependent deck, but if you get the right draws, you can ramp out enough, if not more power than some of these ongoing decks.
There's no X23.
Yeah, no X23, but you have an extra energy to start the game.
Yeah. I think you just want extra things to destroy. Like if you're not putting X23 in here, honestly, you put a Sabretooth. Like you need things to destroy oftentimes. You only have Deadpool and Wolverine.
Okay. We're gonna go ahead.
That's how much I'm gonna say. Like, I think you want more things to destroy.
You have Mora.
Okay. You know what? Fair.
So Sabretooth, I don't know about that one. But next we have Intero's Sentinel deck, using the Gambit Horseman of Death. This Sentinel variant also is really great.
I love these variants. Pixel. I love the Pixel Flare too. I just noticed them. This is fun. I'm glad the creators again got to choose those things. This deck's fine. I played something similar in past things as well. This has just been an okay deck. No issues. It's probably just going to be another. Honestly, I'll say 4-star, considering that Gambit copying that card is fantastic.
Am I allowed to say 3? Because I don't like Gambit.
Based.
I don't like that card.
Wait, I thought you said you liked. Oh, did you mean? So you like the discard Gambit? You don't like Horseman Gambit?
Yeah, I like Gambit 1. I don't like Gambit 2.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'll be the 3 because of that. But other than that, it's just a basic Vic hand deck. It'll probably do well.
Yeah, I do think this is a 2 to a 2.5, just because even though Gambit Horseman Death is in here, a lot of these other decks are running 3-cost or higher cards as some of those main enablers for the ongoing things. So it's like, are you going to be able to put out enough Sentinels to be able to offset a lot of that power? It's kind of like the general thought process there.
I just realized there's no Shadow King in here. I'm so much lower now.
Yeah, you got Red Guardian.
So that's
no, I'm actually. What did I say? I'm a point lower because 1 point lower. No Shadow King.
Okay.
I actually I totally thought Shadow King was in here, and I just re-looked. I'm like, wait, did I miss it? Nope. They missed it.
Yep. The next deck we have is going to be Super Tech Gods Black Panther deck, which is going into pretty much a classic style STG build. If you guys have been watching STG for a while, you guys know this definitely is right up his alley, and it's very interesting. I think I'm probably going to give it like probably a 3 to 3.5 star, just because if you do get like the Man Spider line, it does get some crazy things to happen, or like the Fallen One to be able to do a bunch of, extra energy things, more Panther stuff. But I feel like you need a couple other like bigger enablers than what you have here. I know you have extra energy, but that's kind of just my initial thoughts.
Yeah, I'm gonna be probably around the 3-star. I think you're just gonna fight for consistency with bigger numbers, and whenever you're not hitting those bigger numbers, you're just not gonna pair up well against these other decks.
What number? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
Sorry, I'm at like a 3.
3. Okay, I'm just dumb. I think that there's a couple cards in here that are just really questionable, like the Silver Surfer First Steps, the Karen Page, especially with only Shadowlands Daredevil. It just feels like a low. I don't know. I love STG. I love his building. There's not a lot that actually works. It feels like together in this deck, other than the Fallen One package. If you leaned more into that, I think you had a way to go. But without that, I think this is much closer to. I'm going to probably just say a 1.5 star. I don't think this is good.
Yeah, I am curious about how the power is going to be just in general to a bunch of of these other decks.
And you know what? Black Panther into like Simba Spider-Man, Black Panther into Zola Odin, it might be enough just to save this whole thing.
Maybe. I still also like don't know. Is that actually going to be enough with some of these decks running Shadow King and Cosmo and all these other things?
Real.
But next we have Sizer's Thor deck, which also looks very interesting. Literally playing into like almost every single Asgardian like you have in the game, which is really great. I like the general thought process, of this playing, on theme. But I think the Thor package still is probably a bit lower into that 2-star range, 2.5-star range.
I'm going to just straight up agree with everything you just said right there. I don't need to say anything and the rating.
I agree. I'm not sure how well the Super Scroll is going to be to be the hard counter that we want for all of these ongoing decks. I think they're just going to go way taller and be way better at what they're doing than the Super Scroll is.
Yeah, it feels bad. But then we have Fudge's Herbie deck, which the Herbie decks, honestly, these past couple Grand Arenas, Herbie gets to some crazy, crazy power. But I do want to note, I do think Fudge was a little sad because Fudge was not able to put Shang-Chi in his deck, and Fudge is a very avid Shang-Chi enjoyer, so he used any other tech he could besides Shang-Chi in here with the Red Guardian, the Shadow King, Cosmic Ghost Rider, having Magneto things. So this is definitely a nice, a different take on the Herbie deck, and shout out to Fudge there.
What's the Magneto?
It's just tech.
All right, I'm going to go 2-star. That's kind of my logic here.
Yeah, I'm at like a 2.5. I don't see how this deck puts out enough power. I like the Magneto for Jocasta things, but you're not going to see any Jocasta things here, really.
Yeah, no. That's probably 2.5 star for me. Then we got Pixies, the GOAT himself, Pixie Chef's Annihilus deck. Of course, got the typical kind of Annihilus things. It is literally like, it seems like the old Pixie Annihilus deck, except you're not running, Cersei or like Lady Deathstrike, like those builds, but you have a bunch of different on reveals for the Werewolf by Night, low-costed cards for Pixie value, Surprise Valkyrie, a lot of interesting stuff here. And I think Annihilus's skill is actually something that's pretty cool to note as well.
I feel like there should be another higher cost card here, especially considering you get 1 extra energy per turn. I feel like there should probably be... I don't know, I feel like Echo's not a card you actually want to run here. Maybe it is because of enough ongoing stuff. But I feel like this deck is like 1 card off from being a... Like, Pixie's going to put Pixie in, sure. Feels like there should be a little... Like, I feel like there's not enough Pixie synergy currently. But anyway, I think it's interesting. I'd probably say this is still a... I'll go 2-star. Maybe it's better than I'm thinking, but like I don't think it's been good in the past, and I'm not super high on this.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. I'm gonna say 4 stars, so Pixie doesn't hate me later. But I like the Anti-Venom in this deck a lot. I think Anti-Venom with Shadow King is such a cool idea, and Anti-Venom with Valkyrie is so cool. And I think it could do a lot of work against these flat, bigger number decks.
Yeah, and
if Pixie wasn't listening, what would you rate it?
Dude, 4 stars.
I think Pixie's off camera with holding him hostage. Sorry.
I think it's 2.5 to 3 stars. I do like the Anti-Venom shout is really cool. You do Shadow King to offset Anti-Venom things, and just in general, if you do low roll and like let's say your next card would have been like something that swapped with something higher, and since you don't have Mobius or something there to counteract that, like you're not playing a 5-cost hood, but you play a 0-cost hood. So like having that as an option there as like an out is something that's pretty interesting to note. As we do move on to Dragon's Invisible Woman deck here, which is Affliction. We got Affliction here, and I think this is one of the only decks in the Grand Arena that is running Luke Cage.
I think the only one, which is that is really cool. I think that's sick, and I actually love that personally. Beyond that, I don't know. I still don't know if it's going to be good. Not super. I don't know. Invisible Woman hasn't done great in the past, but again, I still think the card's interesting. This is probably lower. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go cope and say it's 3-star.
I'm at like
I feel like
I hate Luke Cage. I dislike that card heavily. Avid Phantom X enjoyer. I don't like Luke Cage.
Yeah, I think like in the grand scope of things, I think this is probably closer to like a 2.5, 3-star. This is kind of, wishing to have one of the cards releasing next season. So maybe as like a focal piece because you have the extra energy. But shout out to Dragon as well. And then we get our next deck, which is the King of Canada's Ghost Rider deck, which is a Black Knight first Ghost Rider Hell Cow Weapon H deck.
This is a wild pile, to say the minimum.
Yes.
Like, I think Ghost Rider is a difficult card to build with. And I feel like King of Canada made it harder on himself here. Is kind of where I'm at with this. I don't know. Maybe it's better than I'm gonna hope here than I'm actually saying, but like this feels like a low deck. I'm probably over at a 1-star, 1.5. Like it's just I don't know. You're trying to run Black Knight, first Ghost Rider, Hell Cow, Weapon H, and I don't think any of those cards are good. And you're putting all of them in the same deck.
Yeah, I mean, I think just Black Knight and Iron Man alone is a little bit too out there, but I don't think Weapon H fits in this deck. I think it's just going to be way too awkward to play, and you're not going to have enough hella hits.
What would you rate it star-wise, Mase?
I'd probably be at like a 1.5.
So I'm gonna give this half a star because I haven't lost words, and that's just where I'm gonna hold it there. And
I think you said a little bit of it at the beginning of this as well. So I think you've made your yeah.
And then we got W's Mr. Fantastic deck, which this deck looks pretty fun. This also looks like something like if Pixie Chef wasn't playing the Annihilus deck, this definitely is something I think Pixie would have a lot of fun with. I mean, it's Warlock, it's She-Hulk, it's Moon Girl kind of things, like a lot of different ways to get power out. The biggest downside to this is, of course, the most recent change we've had to like the onslaught doubling with like on other cards, but I still think this card or this deck still got some really cool legs and like can go pretty tall horizontally.
Yeah. I mean,
I love.
Why is Warlock in here? Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. I just was confused by Warlock.
I think it's just for Moon Girl skip 5 things, but I'm not sure how much you need that.
You have extra energy on 5 too, so like you have 6 energy you can float for things, and it's like, well, you didn't think I was gonna go tall in the middle lane at all either. Boom, She-Hulk.
That's true. I think it could be a blast to play. I like it a lot. I love all of the ongoing lists in this game mode. I'm gonna be at around 3.5 stars. I like the Moon Girl Warlock idea. I don't think you really necessarily need it, but I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to play with and just slap down fat power out of nowhere.
I think W is a really good player. I just am confused by this deck, and I don't get it personally. This could be a lot better than I'm going to give it credit for, but I feel like this is personally like a 2-star.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's like a 2.5 to like a 3 kind of thing here. But I'm glad, W made something a little bit different. So I think that's, pretty cool. That, is, of course, is going to be all of our Grand Arena decks. And as we are here into our next section, of course, we got Mase, newer player to the game in the sense like back since November. But Dance and I have been playing Snap pretty much since the global release on mobile, which is a long, long time. So we haven't probably experienced some of the stuff that Mase had experienced, coming into the Snap scene itself and getting into the game, for the first time. So, like, what did you play before Snap, Mase?
Before Snap, I'm a very competitive gamer, so literally anything that could get the dopamine up from competition. I play a lot of Rocket League, League of Legends. I played a little bit of Magic the Gathering, and that was like my first step into card games, but this is like my first card game that I've really delved into.
What made you actually delve into it though, right? Because if you were playing all the other ones, what jumped out to Snap for you, or was there anything in particular? I don't know.
No, it was just I had some friends that played a little while back, and they were getting back into it, and they were like big mobile gamers, so I hopped into it with them.
Very nice.
Yeah, I wasn't a very avid card gamer before Snap either. Like, I was playing a lot of those, competitive shooters and everything. But I was like, oh, it's Marvel YAP. That's why I want to do it as well. So, like, Is that kind of one of your general jumps into it as well? You're like, it's the Marvel IP, you know, I want to try to feel it out, kind of, or?
So honestly, it took convincing. Now that I'm thinking about it, we were playing Clash Royale just prior to Snap, and then Clash Royale had like this big update where it was like going to level 16 or whatever, and I had invested a lot of time into Clash Royale, and I was like, nah, I'm not getting back into another card game. But I mean, I do like Marvel a lot, and they were like, it's so much fun, you should get into it, you'll love it. And I was like, I don't think so. And then I finally picked it up, and I just didn't put it down.
I find that funny, actually. That's similar to me. So Clash Royale was one I had really played before. And I think it was a bit before level 16, because I've actually I still pay attention to what's going on there. But I think it was called the Update for Losers or whatever I think was the name of the update. And they did stuff that actually was somewhat good. But I didn't like enough of it that I quit the game. And soon after, or like right before, whatever, like around the same time, Marvel Snap did its official launch, and got me to jump into it. So I understand that, and I relate to the Clash Royale stuff. Do you still play Clash Royale?
No, I think there's like this want for players to be at the top level of play, no matter what you're playing competitively. And with Clash Royale, it's like if your cards aren't maxed, if you don't have everything at the right level, then you're not really able to compete as well. And after they dropped level 16 and made it way harder to get up to max level for everything, I just put it down.
That's
so I'm gonna ask this, but
yeah, Dance, go ahead.
Because I know we said back and forth, and then I immediately jump in because I'm actually interested in this bit because I didn't know you talked about Clash Royale, and this is, for me, one of the things that I really enjoyed about Marvel Snap jumping into it, especially coming from Clash, was, wait, I don't need to have my cards, like they all are the same. They all work. They are the same cards. Like Iron Man is the same card that you get at the beginning of the game to now, whatever collection level you are. And that really jumped out to me and was really exciting to me. Was that interesting to you? Did that have any effects on your like first feelings on the game as a whole, or like how was that? Sorry, I didn't mean to take that away from you, Tucker. It's just, I actually was really interested in this bit.
Yeah, no, so that part was awesome for me, because it's like you unlock a new card in Clash Royale and you're like, well, this card is useless until I can get it up to a level where I can play it, or I'm just not playing it at all. So it's so exciting to have cards that are the way that they come. It was just, I think whenever I first started playing Snap, I popped like Series 3 packs, because I think you start out with like 2,500 collector's tokens, and I got Death, and my friends were like, all right, we're going into Destroy, and I was like, all right, how do I get this card to max level? And I was like, I'm gonna use these collector's things on it, and they were like, you don't even have to do that, and I was like, what? This game is awesome.
With that in mind, though, you were talking about, getting cards up to certain levels. I know in Snap we don't have that system, but looking at the scope of the meta, and as you're pushing into higher ranks, did you feel like being able to acquire cards to feel competitive was an issue, even if cards have the same abilities from different ways you go up more and more and more, that you don't need to level up the same card multiple times? Did you feel like you were in a good general way you had a good general way to be able to collect cards to play a variety of different decks, or do you think you're still kind of on that catch up?
Free to play, definitely not. I played so much whenever I first started out. I'm talking, I think I have like 3,000 games on Untapped, and I did not download Untapped whenever I first started playing the game. But I've played a ridiculous amount, and it just feels so hard to catch up, and it feels really hard to stay caught up, because you want so many of those key pieces that go in a lot of the decks, and at the same time you're wanting to do something that's fun all the time, and it feels really hard to get there.
It's fair. So like, could you have a moment where like that was something for you, like a new card release, and you're like, I want to play this in my deck, and it didn't, like, again, as a newer player, like, did that happen to you like initially, or how, like, did you have a moment for this, like, you could look back on, you're like, yeah, that sucked and that was really rough?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it happened all the time. I started out playing Destroy. I think I played Destroy for like the first 3 months of my play, because there were just so many Series 5 cards that were so hard to get, and then it was trying to get caught up on those. But Phantom X, I wanted to play so bad. I don't think I got Phantom X until the beginning of 2 seasons ago. I want to say, I think it was like 2 seasons ago I finally got Phantom X, and I just haven't put that card down since. but there's so many cards like that for me.
Yeah, I think that's something to note too, is like you want to play your favorite Marvel character. Like you're playing this game in order to, play the characters you want to play and the abilities pertaining to like their, abilities in the comics and stuff. And, we kind of get behind that. Well, they're, $100 to get, caught up kind of thing. And it's like, oh, it's just $100, but like it's $100, in some of these to catch up. So I think like being free to play definitely makes this, like way more difficult. In the whole grand scope of things, I do think, card acquisition is better in this game than like a variety of different games too. But like when it comes to Snap, like you said, you like playing Phantom X, and you liked playing Destroy. Did it feel like the fun factor of Snap was a bit better in a sense than Clash Royale? Like you could play a variety of different decks into the meta and have success, or did you feel like with Clash, sometimes you kind of have to play like specific decks in order to be able to compete in the meta? Did it feel like it's a little bit more open here in Snap?
So I think with Clash, it's a lot more skill oriented. It feels like, because you have card placement, you have mana management, you have all of that stuff where you don't really get all of that in Snap. So it does kind of feel like you can lose to a lot of RNG stuff. But I think for the most part in Snap, it feels like most of the time the better player wins, and I do like that a lot. Whereas in Clash Royale, it could be like they're just playing a deck that's like cringe, quote unquote, or whatever, and you just lose to that. Yeah. Which, I mean, you'll get that in every game, but Snap, it feels like they're higher skilled decks that can play around stuff like that.
You don't think it's getting fun? It's fun for you to just get destroyed by Evo Firecracker, Evo Meta Knight just repeatedly, and they're just throwing down that over and over again. I think that's if you know the game. I think that's it's not good anymore. But I remember it being annoying at least like a year ago or whatever.
Yeah. They're not fun.
What did you like about the game though? Like, when you jumped into Marvel Snap, you mentioned that you just didn't put it down. So like, what held you for it, right? What was the difference between playing the game and continuing on it versus you played it with your friends and then you don't play it again?
Yeah, so I think the bots hooked me, honestly. I think playing against bots and just putting out big numbers, I think that was like, I'm winning, this feels so good. Whereas in like Clash Royale, I could go on like a 30 loss streak against regular people and lose all day, and it would feel horrible at the end of the day. But for some reason, like something about just playing against a bot here and there and just getting the dopamine of doing like the best thing the deck could do, it felt so good for me. Which, like, now I hit infinite every season, so you don't really get that anymore, but I've had time to scale.
That's why you haven't hit infinite yet, so you can have more bots, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, because that's how it works. But yeah, because we were, generally curious about like how the new season kind of and everything unfolds, from season to season, being free to play, not being free to play, being a new player and everything too, because it kind of feels like it's a huge climb, like a huge mountain that you have to like kind of try to ascend with like so many different options. How do you make the right approach to things? And if you had like any suggestions for like a new player coming to Snap, what would you suggest for them?
A lot of what I was in streams every single day. I was talking to people. I met Tucker through streams. You meet great people that are really good at the game. They'll help you learn. People in chats will help you learn. I always like to watch content creators and learn how to play, because things like learning how to put points down on a board aren't exactly like second nature to those who haven't played games like this. And it is difficult to make those decisions, but people will help you along the way.
It's fair. What about the gameplay in particular grabbed you in Snap? What about and what do you still enjoy? Like, why are you still why are you still playing it? Is my, I think, end of all question here. Like, I'm glad you are, but why? Like, why are you still here for it? And I'm happy you are, but why?
The competitive aspect. You hit infinite and you see the number and you want to make that number get as small as possible. You hit, at the beginning of, it was a few months ago, like very first day of the season, I hit rank 1, and that was like the coolest feeling on the planet to me. Yeah, it was so awesome. So I screenshotted it, sent it to everybody I knew, and just like chasing that feeling over and over again.
That is sick. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Which, by the way, guys, if you guys aren't following Mase, make sure you guys are following Mase. But if you want another really great feeling, you guys need to hit the follow button on notmydance's Twitch. Hit the subscribe button on his Twitch. The follow on Twitter as well, to be filled with that great level of dopamine that Mase is talking about for some fantastic Marvel Snap content, a little bit of variety content as well. Make sure you guys hit all of Dance's incredible links that are down in the description. Show him some love. Comment on every single one of his videos, mustache. And he would absolutely love that, as we are going to go ahead and start talking about the brand new day season, which is coming out not this week, but it comes out next week. Of course, we have Namorita and we have Triton coming out as well, but we're not honestly super stoked about those cards. We can talk about them here for a second, just for reference. Namorita is the brand new Series 5 card coming out today. 3 cost, 5 powered. When you draw a card, give it -1 cost if this is your only card here. Mase, what are your initial thoughts on Namorita?
I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it's just going to be kind of like take the place of a Surge, but for your hand. You're going to have to already have the cards in your hand, so it's going to have a little bit of constraints on it. But overall, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this card a bit. We'll see how well it actually lands, but I think it's really going to... I don't know, I've said everything I think I could say on this card, and I want to see how it actually officially lands at this point. We got Triton today as well. And again, I don't know if I have the greatest expectations for this guy, right? Or yesterday, as it were. 3/4 with the unavailability that gives the last character each player played with you and your opponent last turn +3 power. Again, it's both kind of like, I think they're both fine cards. I don't think either one's going to break the meta, but I have no qualms personally with either one either.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Namorita can find a home in Zombie Galacti. I think that's like for sure, definitely one of the main spots for that card. Triton, I'm kind of just going to be interested to see how that lands. It's more like, am I going to be able to scale the card I just played more than my opponent? Kind of is like the general idea there. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But these cards coming out next season look insane. As we do get Spider-Man Brand New Day. It is a data mined 1 cost 2 powered season pass card with the ability movable twice. After this moves to a location, give one of your other cards there +1 power. Even unrevealed cards. Mase, what are your initial thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day?
I think this card looks so cool. Movable twice. I think this is the first time we're getting a card that has movable twice in this text. I think that's really exciting, especially for a 1-drop. It's so easy to weave into your play. I think it'll be a great card for move decks.
I love the fact that this is, yeah, like you said, movable twice. I think that's the biggest thing about this for me. Because, and also the fact that it can give power to your unrevealed card. So there is a combo, 3 different cards all release at the start of the season, which again is actually at the end of this month, not the start of next month, which is somewhat weird, but my guess, it's Spider-Man. They probably did an extra week because it's Spider-Man. So sure, whatever. I'm really interested in this card. It's a Super 6 season pass card. And it's going to be solid. People have said, I've heard people say like, this is just a better version of Nightcrawler. And while I do think it's a good version of the card, the fact that Nightcrawler is a good card you can play on turn 5 or turn 6 and Spider-Man Brand New Day probably isn't. Like there is a unique, I think you want this card earlier in the game. The later in the game this actually is, the worse I think this card is. But that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm interested to see if this is just straight up a power creep for Nightcrawler. If it does land that way, I think there's a lot of guesses for that. But I do like it.
Yeah, no, this card is going to be really like this is definitely.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Nightcrawler is a 1/3. You can move 1 time. Okay, that's good. That's good base power. This is a 1/4. You can move twice. And that's also not to note. Also, the cards that you're going to be buffing. Getting extra value, being able to add power to other lanes and stuff like that. Like this card has crazy scaling potential. I think it is a great point though, that if you get this on 6 and you don't have a way to move anything around, it's kind of just a 1/2. But if you're playing this almost any time before 6, like I'm also thinking you move Spider-Man Brand New Day onto Sam Wilson's shield. So Sam Wilson's shield has power.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's so many different ways to just add a lot of value with this card, not to mention the super premium season pass card, right, Dance?
Yeah, it's gonna be super interesting. There's a lot of like, okay, is it good on turn one? Is it good later? A lot of that stuff. Like, there are gonna be clear floors and ceilings to all these cards. Mary Jane being a 3/3 is another very solid card that says end of turn, give each of your cards that move this turn +1 power. And you mentioned, I think, the best synergy already. Even though Spider-Man's here, Sam Wilson's shield is going to be fantastic. If you can play Mary Jane, you have Sam Wilson on the board. That can turn the shield into a at least 4 power card by the end of the game. Really powerful, really interesting, and that's just like, and that's not just the shield. Like, everything else can be done with it. There's going to be wild, and I'm super interested in what this style of deck's going to be, and I know a lot of people are probably going to be stoked. As also, Mary Jane have been waiting for a while to enter the game, and if y'all are also stoked for this, you should go be checking out Tucker's Buy or Bust, because he's going to tell y'all what's going to be good, what's going to be bad about these cards, what's going to be fantastic, what's going to break the cards, what's the floor and the ceiling for all of them. He's going to be talking about all of that stuff whenever he releases his Buy or Bust videos for the upcoming season. So check out youtube.com/TUCCRR. He's giving me a look like he may not actually be able to release those videos. We'll find out. But if he does, you should, and even if he doesn't, still be checking him out over on YouTube, where he does post a variety of deck content when he does have the time for it, as well as he does do Buy or Busts. He posts Marvel YAP there as well. You're already here probably watching it. If you're not here like on YouTube right now watching it, hopefully you're over on his Twitch, which tonight, as of recording this, or as of this going out, he should be live over on Twitch. There are currently Twitch drops, I think, as well. So if you want to get Twitch drops, support Tucker, have a great time in Marvel Snap, you should be able to do that. I know Mase is currently not in town right now, but like, I'm not going to mention too much of that, so I don't know if he's streaming it. I don't think he is, based off the way he's been talking about this stuff so far. So I cannot recommend watching Mase this week, but you should be following Mase anyway and watching him future times. But since Tucker's going to be live tonight, make sure you're following him over on Twitch, subscribe over on Twitch, and go over to his TikTok, over to his Twitter, his X, whatever you're calling it. Make sure you're following him in all those places. Give him the love, give him the support. He's a great guy, great content creator, and he deserves every bit of your love. But Mary Jane's also got a lot of love for Spider-Man. You can even see he's like hidden in the background behind the little 3, and I love that little shout.
Yeah, Mase, what do you think about Mary Jane?
I'm pretty excited. I think she seems kind of similar to like a Venus, but for moves, not quite as good. Obviously, Venus is a crazy good card, but I think she'll bring a lot to the move decks. I'm really excited to give it a shot. I'm so excited to try all of these move decks because, I mean, like I said, it was like meta whenever I first started. I never really got to play it too much because I didn't have the cards for it. I didn't have Hydra Stomp or anything like that, but I'm so excited to be trying all these new decks.
Yeah, I think Mary Jane, like, I think the Venus shout is really, like, it's a close shout too. I think what I like, even though Venus is better at the grand scope of things, I think the cool thing about Mary Jane is, since it's end of turn, going into the next turn, like, you know, can also proc things, whereas Venus is right there in the moment. I don't know, they kind of can go hand in hand. Like a Mary Jane Venus kind of combo could be crazy, yes, depending on what you have going on, because this also could be a great Aurora card with Sam Wilson, because it's also an end of turn card.
I like
so
that.
That's some cool, interesting kind of stuff there. But yeah, I think this card's going to be good. And also, I wanted to sidebar, if I don't have Buy or Bust out this week, Dance and I are going to have a more in-depth kind of yap than we normally do next week, talking about the new season cards that Dance now is finding here on the spot. But that
I am. I learned the other thing by your reaction previously, so it's all chill.
But Mase, we have then Aunt May coming out also on this next Tuesday. What does Aunt May do?
So Aunt May is end of turn. If you've used a movable ability, give a movable card in your hand -1 cost and +2 power. That seems pretty good to me, but I think the movable card is what drags it down a lot, because we don't have many cards with that keyword on it in the game.
So my question, and this has been my take, and until the card comes out, I'll be proven wrong. I think this works with cards that say the word movable on them. That's what a movable card is. Or it's just the cards that have the move, like they are movable. And I could see it either way. But for example, Sam Wilson, I think, should be able to get a discount from Aunt May, because he has the word movable in his text. Am I correct? I don't know. But that's I think Tucker was disagreeing with me last time we talked about this, but that's been my cope so far with this card, is that I want that to work. cards like Web Sling couldn't get this extra power, but it could get the discount. Free Web Sling would be sick. Also, you could talk about the, what's it called? Hellion. Looking at cards even weird enough like Madam Web, who, again, would be sick with this. Because, again, you want to move a lot of stuff. My hope and guess and pray is that, like, it gives those cards a buff, a boost, an empowerment.
Spider-Punk likes this. Like, Spider-Punk's movable.
Spider-Punk definitively, I think. Yeah. Any card that has it in its text and is movable, I think definitively will get the buff. Yeah. My cope is the extra stuff.
Yeah, Vision would get it.
I mean, Vision being a 411, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if this brings back some Silky Smooth kind of things. I wouldn't be surprised if Silky Smooth comes back this next season. Like, it just seems like the right season for it. I've also been playing like a lot of Spider-Punk, and that card actually is really solid. Like,
oh, yeah.
Spider-Punk actually is really, really solid.
I forgot that it stole power from the highest power card there.
Wait,
sometimes I forget that.
Spider-Punk steals from the highest power card?
Yeah, steal 2 power from the highest powered enemy there.
Oh, see, I didn't even realize that. I just moved it back.
It always no, it always hits the biggest power thing, which I that's fair, right? Like, yeah. I don't think a lot of people actually realize that. We probably talked about it when it released, but we've forgotten that. It's just a cool thing to like note about it. But yeah, Aunt May is sick. I love the move. But that's the whole line here, right? You play on turn 1, you play Spider-Man Brand New Day. Turn 2, you move him to Aunt May, and he works on buffing unrevealed cards. So Aunt May gets an extra point of power. And then her end of turn ability triggers. Then you move him to the unrevealed Mary Jane on turn 3, who then does another. Like, that's a great line. That is the line that they meant for the line of Shuri Black Panther. And it's not a good line, but that's what the line is meant for. And I feel like that's the exact same argument for Brand New Day, Aunt May, and Mary Jane. Whether or not it's the correct thing to do is a different conversation, but that's what I think it's meant to work with.
Yeah, this season's gonna be a lot of big brain move kind of things. So I hope you guys are locked in to use your brain a lot more and try and calculate a lot of things, because that's what's gonna be happening. We also then have the following week, we have the brand new Series 5 card Tarantula coming out, which is a 2-cost, 2-powered card with the ability, end of turn, if you have the highest power among cards in play, give this and 2 cards in your hand plus 1 power.
How do you feel about this one, Mase?
I'm not sure. Because oftentimes whenever you're playing these prio decks, on turn 1 and turn 2 is whenever you're trying to get that prio, and I just don't think 2/2 is good enough. It also seems to clash a little bit with Wilson Fisk. Because if I'm not mistaken, Wilson Fisk is you want to have the highest cost on the board, and it's only a 2/2.
Yeah. Or highest power, yeah.
Yes, right.
So we'll see. It does have the exact same wording as Wilson Fisk, and Wilson Fisk works with ties, so I assume it does work with ties both ways. However, yeah, I feel like you're correct there. I feel like this is a big ask, and I don't know if I like that curve just of, I don't know. It's a weird card. Martyr got nerfed, and she's still seeing play, so maybe that's something you can still do. I just don't know if like a 2/2 into a 2/3 like is enough to really make it matter. We'll see how I think we're just gonna have to find out how this actually lands.
I mean, that if it's a Martyr, if it's a Hydra Bob, like if you have the turn 1 card into Tarantula goes to a 2/3, then you could play Fisk out and potentially have a 10 power card on the board on turn 3.
Yeah.
And then Tarantula continues to proc, continues to add power to cards in your hand. Opposed to being like every single card in your hand, like a Vision. Like it'd be interesting kind of to see this in like one of those super giant style decks, which I wouldn't be surprised if you do maybe see it in one of those kind of tempo decks. But I do understand, like at that 2 power initially, it feels like a feels bad. But I think it's like I have other cards to help scale to make it so this 2 power initially isn't as bad, because that's kind of what we were thinking about, like with Fisk. Like are we going to be able to get Fisk really all that much down? And I think it being worded the same way as Fisk, I think does help this card a bit more. Do I think this card is absolutely crazy? No. But I do think this card is definitely going to have some decks where it's going to have its flowers.
I think that's a fair take. Tug, is the next one do I know what the next card is? Yeah.
Yeah, this is... Oh, man. If you guys did not know, Dance and I have been talking about this card for months now, ever since it was data mined. We have the Sanctum Showdown is the theoried kind of game mode we have for Tombstone, which is a Series 4 2-cost 3-powered card with the ability, on reveal, destroy your lowest powered card at each other location. So, you play Tombstone in the left lane, destroys a card in the middle and the right. Tombstone in the middle lane, destroys a card on the left lane and the right lane. Tombstone on the right lane, destroys a card in the left lane and the middle lane. It is always the 2 other locations. You don't have to play Tombstone just in the middle location. Like, that being one of those focal things where it's like you don't have to, if Tombstone's played middle, kind of thing, I think is really, really great, especially for this to be a 2-cost targeted destroy card.
I'll give a note that is, so these are out-of-date graphics. I need to make new ones. I've just been busy and haven't had time for it. But according to most recent data mines, it looks like it actually might be Team Clash that will be this one. And I think it's actually releasing, it looks like on the 6th of July. So a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to, if and when I'm incorrect about this stuff, the graphic in the past, I will just correct it here and now. But so I do believe that will be the way it actually does work.
What do you think, Mase?
Still cool though.
I'm really excited for this card. I'm so excited to not have to run Deathlock in my destroyed decks anymore. They did just give it that buff, but I think this is going to be way better for destroy decks in general. I'm not sure it's going to take it. I mean, I could see it doing a lot of stuff in like Nimrod decks, but I'm not sure it's going to take destroy back up to that top meta level, but I think it'll be really good for the decks overall.
It's a good alternate Annihilus kind of line too, like for like some werewolf things, and like if you want to do it in like some even like Phantom X kind of things, you set up your Marrow in such a way to like, I just think it being targeted to lowest power and locations is so cool, especially for this to be a 2-cost. Like, that's kind of crazy. It's like the Quake kind of destroy.
I love that shout, actually. I think that Werewolf Annihilus stuff, if there's a chance that deck comes back, I actually love that idea that this might be one of the ways that it comes back. I think that's really cool. This is a very fun card. I'm excited to hopefully see it do some good. We'll see if it actually lands, but I'm excited by Tombstone.
This will be the first time I think I actually finish an entire thing for like a game mode, like entire Super Premium, because I want to have the variant because I know I'm going to actually really enjoy this card. And then the next card is the card that Dance hopes does not get red-winged.
So red-winged, if you don't know, Base, I don't actually know if you were aware of this bit. So when Red Wing was first data mined, it was data mined originally as a bounce card. And then it got changed. And one of the reasons that I will forever, and I try to say, data mines are always subject to change, is because of Red Wing, because that card got changed last second, and the second ender can do whatever they do, and that's fine. But I was hoping it was gonna be a real card, and it wasn't, and I'm sad about it to this date. And I look at Boomerang, and Boomerang still has not been changed. And I'm really hoping that this card actually releases as a bounce card. Boomerang, it has the ability, there's a 2-cost, 2-power stat line with the ability, when this returns to your hand, randomly steal 4 power from cards in your opponent's hand. So if this is somehow a real thing, I'm so stoked. I hope.
Yeah, this seems like a lot of fun. I love bounce as an archetype so much. I've had kind of like little segments on my streams where I have people that have their own decks come on stream and coach me for a while. I had Dennis do Hello with me. I had Jay Walla do Thanos Cerebro 3 and we coped on that for a while. But I wanted to have Doc Guapo on so bad, but I had never got in contact with him. But Bounce is an awesome deck. So fun to play. I hate that it kind of got gutted with the Shulao nerfs. It was a little bit of a second-hand nerf or got caught by the strays, but I really hope this adds enough to Bounce to bring it back because it's so fun to play.
Yeah, and I think something to note here too is it does also have the activate ability, return this to your hand. So even if you can't bounce it normally, you also can just activate it to return it to your hand, which of course activates can only be used once per game. And this kind of goes against Luke Cage because Luke Cage only resets cards' power back to their original or negates negative affliction once the cards are played. So even cards in hand, if a Luke Cage is on the board, will get hit by a boomerang. So if this stays as is, this is a great upgrade for bounce. And then we get Scorpion Brand New Day, which is a with the ability ongoing double reductions on all enemy cards.
Yeah, I'm going to say that again because at least I had a mic issue and I couldn't hear you finish that. But it was 6/8 Scorpion Brand New Day, ongoing double the power reductions on all cards, releasing on July 21st. I'm saying it again just because I didn't hear Tucker say it. There was, but
I don't know, my mic got unplugged while I was saying it, so you're good.
Perfect. Good thing I reset it then. How do you feel about this card? Because I was talking with some other players about this card, and I thought this card sucked. And then I heard people who are top Infinite players like Smiles, Heart of the Cards, Roram talk about how they think this card is busted. And they love it. Luke Cage exists, and I don't know if I could ever feel like this card is good.
Yeah, I think Luke Cage kind of shuts down every time Phantom X would be at the top of the meta or like decks like that, all of our Affliction decks. But I could be coping. I think this seems like it could be a lot of fun with Phantom X, because Phantom X already does so much negative power. I think it's really underrated on that side of things, and you're doubling -2 to each front row card. And a lot of times when you're playing Phantom X on turn 6, you don't have a big turn 6 play, you're just dumping out whatever is left in your hand. But if you've already met all of the things you need to get Phantom X off, then you don't really have a whole lot to do. So this card seems like it could be a great fit there.
Yeah.
You know what else this is good with? Fastball Special.
There is a lot of destroy stuff in particular. When you look at Fastball Special, Marrow, Phantom X, just those. I wonder if there is just a full-on destroy deck where rather than actually caring about putting any other points of power on the board, their final turn game plan is just everything hurts more now.
Yeah. No,
which is really cool.
What's also cool with that is the Phantom X deck right now that's running Zombie Captain Marvel, being able to set up like that Martyr landmine, like you said, like it's a potential big boy Scorpion coming down. I do truly wonder with Scorpion's Spider-Man Brand New Day if we are going to see a lot more magic style Affliction decks to be able to really optimize some of that Scorpion things, or like magic Phantom X decks even. So that would kind of take some messing around with to see, just because like yes, playing Scorpion at the end of the game could be really good, but maybe I want to have an extra turn to do things before I play Scorpion, or play Scorpion and then have an extra turn to do things. So be interesting. And of course Scorpion's week is going to be a very bad week for the card, because everyone's going to be playing Luke Cage. But I think once that dies down, I think it'll be better.
Yeah. So I don't know the order because my graphics are a little bit old, but I will just tell you, Tucker, there is another card, according to Datamines, releasing on the same day. It's actually not Spider Sense. I think it's the next one. J. Jonah Jameson is, okay, one more time. J. Jonah Jameson is the card that's currently datamined to release on July 21st as well. Again, my graphics are out of date. I said this. I made a point not to do it because I didn't have free time to fix them. But J. Jameson is a 1-cost 3-power card that says ongoing your text emotes are ruder. It's still an unknown game mode, even with the release date of July 21st. Again, different than what it shows on here, but I'm specifying that right now. How y'all feel about this one?
I might use emotes now, other than fist bump. We'll see.
An ongoing 1/3 that has no downside is really good. So
this is just hey, remember Misty Knight? What if she just had an ongoing ability, but it was ongoing? This card can be played. I don't know, something like that. Ongoing, you get energy equal to the turn it is. Like dumb stuff. And that's literally all this card is. And there's a real, and that card is actually real, I think.
Yeah.
I think if people are running Enchantress on day 1 of this card for this card.
Well, it does release same day as Scorpion Brand New Day. So if they're running Enchantress, I'm going to bet it's for Scorpion, but Jay Jonason might get caught in the crossfire.
Be so
that is actually a hilarious shout. But sorry, Tuck. And then I think from the graphics onwards, I think this is still correct.
The next
Don't
card
swivel.
we have Data Mind is going to be Spider Sense, which is a Series 4 card, 5 costs, with the ability, on reveal, give your characters here +2 power. Cost 1 less for each movable card you've played. Now, are we back to skills are copium, or is this genuinely a... Maybe it is an okay card. What do we think, Dams?
What is a movable card? Is Madam Web a movable card? That's my question. If Madam Web's movable, this card's great. Because that means you can do, like, a web sling discounts this card permanently. Madam Web is a great card with this. What, like, playing just a lot of cards you already want in a move deck makes it a lot better. If it's not, then this card's probably a lot worse. That's literally what this card comes down to for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's not that, then it's going to be hard to weave this into anything, and it's more likely just going to be a dead card. You're not going to see much use out of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think something to note also with this being a skill, I think is something important that if you are wanting to play this, something that is super important to move decks is board space. And so being able to add power to cards and then also not take at the slot after you've added power to cards is something that could give this card legs. But I do think the most important thing is what is a movable card? What is not a movable card? And like that context of things. And it's like, do I slot this into a normal style move deck? Like, what am I taking out for this? I think that's something, you know, we're getting to a point here. We're already at that point kind of here in Snap is like, do I have the means to really get value out of this? Or could I play something out that's going to be more consistent, maybe not as much power, but actually is genuinely better for the deck? And I think that's something we're going to continue to think about like through the course of time. That's like what we think about like with Web Sling right now too. It's like, oh, Web Sling's cool. It grants my card movable next turn. But like, is it actually worthwhile playing opposed to something like an Aranya or like a Ghost Spider or just like a Madam Web? Like, how exactly is this going to fall? And I think that's kind of maybe what we might run into here with Spider Sense. So it'll be interesting to kind of, you know, see how this card itself falls into the meta.
Also, this I think is Grand Arena, so that's not even data mined. But when the most recent patch came out, they had they said the limited time game modes for next month. They have Team Clash, which is currently data mined for the time that Tombstone will be releasing. They have High Voltage, which according to data mine is only going to be a weekend event, and then they have Grand Arena. Grand Arena is not currently data mined, but I'm assuming it will be most likely that's where this card releases. That is my current guess, but it's also not even data mined yet, so I'm guessing that will probably be something that is like shown later on. Like that we'll get the information for that later because I'm pretty sure there will be a patch before this card releases. So date is even more like wishy-washy, but just as a note for that little bit there, I think it's a interesting shout. Yeah, we'll see if this card matters, right? It's the only other place I was thinking about with this card was, and maybe this is probably the most copable bit, is can you use Strife with this card? How bad is that idea?
I think it's pretty bad.
Is it still bad enough? Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of a way to play this card, and I'm like, if I could just use maybe a Strife, it could be either Heimdall or Spider Sense.
I mean,
that's most I got. I'm not gonna say this card's good. Maybe
Astral Projection. Cope.
Honestly, that's probably a better idea than what I said. Straight up, like that's, I don't know. We'll see how good. I really think it just comes down to the movable stuff. Like, if I can play Madam Web and that counts for this, deal. If not, but actually, I will say the reason I did say Strife in particular is because the card doesn't say other characters, so he would also gain that buff.
Oh, right. Give your characters here, but since it's a skill,
it doesn't count itself.
Gotcha.
So if Strife counts it, then that technically can turn. Like, actually, I'll tell y'all, I played a Strife Tau Mandala deck recently, where you had the only like the highest on reveal card you had in your hand was the Tau Mandala, and you would use that and put it in an Iron Man lane, and that would rewrite Strife's text to be Iron Man. It was fun. It wasn't good, but it was fun. But that's probably why I'm like getting to this point as well, because it does count the highest cost card, even if that cost is lower, because it does use capital C. That's my best guess for this card. Legitimately, I don't think it's good, but I'm just going to cope, as I think this card's a cope card anyway.
Okay, but
I love that it's a card.
Is this card the cope card of the season dance? Or is it actually going to be the Sinister Six, which is the last Series 5 card releasing of the season, a 6-cost, 12-powered card with incredible card art, by the way.
This is a variant for what it's worth. My apologies.
But still, incredible card art. Game starts. The first 6 characters you draw are evil. After you play them, merge them into this and add this to the last one's location. Base are missing, variant shown. What do we think about this card, Mace?
I want Mace's opinion on play before he says anything else. Do you think it requires you actually to play all 6 characters out, or can they be cheated onto the board, i.e. Thanos' Power Stone?
So with my Magic the Gathering background, I would say reading the card explains the card, which means you would actually have to play them out yourself.
And that's fair.
But yeah, I'm not super up to date on my Marvel Snap.
The only reason I question it was because the Power Stone says you have to play all of the Infinity Stones, but you don't actually have to play all of them. You just have to have them all on the board at some point. And that is that was my logic. So I'm sorry. I do want to hear your actual thoughts. It's just I wanted to hear your opinion on my tinfoil hat theories I've got for all these upcoming cards.
No, that makes sense. I'd imagine with a text like that, you'll probably be able to cheat them out onto the board. This seems kind of like I think you'll have the same issues with this that you would have with something like a Strange Supreme, where it'll just be way too much power in one location and not enough power anywhere else. I think it's a funny card. I think it's really cool looking, but I don't know how practical it's going to be.
Yeah.
And the other thing, too, is like, oh, you immediately think Zola. You think about Taskmaster. But you're like, but what if those are the cards that are evil? You know? So, like, I think the cards that, like, are good with this are, like, a Quicksilver and, like, a Domino. So you know you have 2 cards for sure that are going to be, you know, infected or evil. Kind of here, but it's like you said, what do you do after this happens? Like, do you need to ramp this out? I mean, if you can ramp this out, like, that's honestly not half bad, and like you can have like Dragon Lord and stuff, but like you said, you have to play them. Like, that doesn't mean they have to stay on the board per se, because even like Gambit Horseman of Death is play created cards. It doesn't say have on the board concurrently. And I also wonder, does it also count, you know, cards that have been destroyed? Like, do those cards destroyed get merged back into the Sinister Six at the end of the day there? Like, it's just going to be interesting to see how this card falls and how often do you get this Exodia kind of thing to actually work.
Yeah. It honestly really reminds me of Dormammu. It also, like, it feels like there are going to be similar levels of payoffs. It also looks like this card gets added to the board in the same way Dormammu does. It also can merge, like Dormammu has destroyed cards that merge with it. So maybe it's the same logic here. I think this is a really cool card and I love it. And I'm willing to bet that this is not powerful enough to say, hey, all of my cards, like the first 6 cards that I draw, which could even be the Sinister Six potentially. I don't know if that's confirmed or not. First 6 cards that I get, I just have to get on the board. Once I do, I'm consolidating all of that power. Does that matter? I don't know if that's good. I can't guaranteed run a Cosmo to protect my cards. I can't run something else to like just make sure my cards are gonna be okay. I can't guaranteed run a Zola or a Taskmaster because those could become evil. So it's like, sure, is this actually gonna matter? Is this gonna be really good? I don't know. However, I love that this is such a cool way to introduce a team into the game. Like the Sinister Six as a card. That's sick. I love it. This is sick. I cannot wait for this. And I can't wait to see, can they do stuff with other cards? Like other teams? Can we get a Heroes for Hire? Wrecking Crew. Like, what can they do with this if this works well? Will it even work? There's a lot of stuff. I love the idea of this card. It's most likely not going to be good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting, and like in theory, there's a lot of things like maybe you do like a Fallen One style deck, so you can have all the energy to play, you know, things out and do stuff. But still, it's like, is that enough? And I think it'll be interesting. Of course, we have 2 to 3 OTAs and a patch before this card comes out. Maybe the meta will be in a different spot to make this maybe feel a bit better. But no, I agree. I think that is a great shout. And once again, we want to say, Mase, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the app. Had an absolute blast. If you guys are not following Mase on Twitch, make sure you guys do follow Mace's info. Is going to be down in the description below. And what should our word of the day be today, Dance?
So, Mase, at the end of each episode, what we typically do is we have a word, and if they made it to the very end of the video, they should use that word in their comment down below. What do you think that word should be for today?
That's a tough one.
Wanted to throw it to the guests this time.
Yeah, I think for today, our word of the day should be movable.
Movable. Okay. Use the word
guys
movable
can
if you made
find
it to
how
the
that's
very
used?
end. Yeah. If you made it to the very end of the episode, please use the word movable. Not only will we, we're going to know you made it to the end, we'll also potentially feature that comment in our 100 episode when we do like a review of a bunch of comments and stuff, our mailbag style of thing. But on a real note, thank you so much for hanging out today, Mase. We absolutely appreciate it. If you have not checked out twitch.tv/MaceSW, his link will be down below in the description. Any other links he wants to give as well. But seriously, thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure meeting you, pleasure having you on today, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a blast. So I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully you have me again.
Oh yeah, definitely should have Mase again. And like Dan said, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. God bless, and laters.
Later.